And if you're having a bad day, she just makes you feel so good, and she can bring you right up out of that bad time that you're in, and just so full of life.
I was an only child, so my mom had me doing a lot of stuff. Anything I liked to do, I did. So lessons, guitar, singing, piano, ice skating, gymnastics. So I think my first horse my mom bought when I was 2. My legs didn't even reach past the swell of the saddle. So in my 80s puff coat and big marshmallow boots. My mom and I had an outfitting business, so we had 56 horses, and I broke and trained them. We would take hunters out in the wintertime for all 3 seasons. We're outside of Gunnison in between Powderhorn and Gunnison, and ride our horses up, camp them out in a blind. If they couldn't shoot them, we shot them, kind of thing. They always got their elk. We'd gut them, we'd quarter them, we'd hang them on the horses and send the horses back to camp. So I graduated when I was 16 from Florence High and went to Colby Community College and did the rodeo team there. Before I turned 18, I went up to Crip Creek and got a job for 4 months at 4 different places and made enough money to pay cash for my truck and get started at USC before, and then I got a full ride scholarship.
This time I would like to introduce the CSU Pueblo
college,
student,
but I had it just in case.
Brandi
I
Halverson
majored
and
in
Tyler
criminology,
South, who will sing the
sociology,
national
psychology
anthem.
with a music minor because I loved singing, and that's what I did growing up. It turned into CSU the year I graduated. I sang the anthem with a guy out of choir, Tyler, I think his name was.
By the dawn's early light, what so proudly we hailed.
While in foster care, I decided to become a police officer so I could help people, be there for kids especially, and advocate for them. And when I became a police officer, I realized that I could do so much more in that role than just helping kids. So I got really good at domestic violence. In 2014, there was a big fire at the Johnson Sporting Goods. It was all the firefighters. I mean, they were all fighting it, trying to get it out. And there was a man on a bicycle throwing beer bottles at them. I just looked over on 3rd Street and saw another officer running, and my instinct was to parallel run with him because I didn't know what he was running after. And right when I got past a car, I saw the bicycle turn, and he was coming right towards me, and so I was just gonna pummel him off the bicycle, and he punched me right in the chest, so I had a plate, and it pushed my momentum, so I grabbed him and just knocked him out he squished me on some fire hoses, and that ended my career. So it took 6 months of extensive neuro training to get me back to speaking. I still have issues with getting the word past that point, but most of the time I can think it through. I had 22 surgeries later, and it took about 3 years to walk again. And finally, I had 2 Fulkerson osteotomies, and my left hip replaced, my left shoulder replaced, and my back and neck are fused. So, I'm bionic. Everyone calls me the $1 Million Woman.
I first met Brandi when her oldest daughter took the phlebotomy program.
I think it was their first year with Jamie Wells. And I was a volunteer, even though I hate needles, but she was my kid, my oldest daughter, and I went in there and let her poke me and, did what any parent would do, right? Freaked out a little bit, but I was just amazed when I saw there's so many steps. It's not just you go in there and you stab somebody and get some blood. That's just not how it is. My 3 psychologists were telling me, you got to think of something else or you're going to drive yourself crazy. So I started thinking about phlebotomy, and I was like, I could take that class. And I fell in love with it. It wasn't like, here, let's push you along, you're overweight and your knees are fixed and they had to break your legs to do the Fulkerson osteotomies, but here you go. No, it was, I'm up, I'm moving. They were taking the stairs, and I'm like, I didn't complain. I just took the stairs, and I felt like the screws were just going to shoot out as I was going down. And I kept pushing myself, and at night I'd be swollen and I'd be crying, and I'd get up the next day and be there at 5 a.m. and I pushed through the pain. It was so refreshing to go from being a police officer where everything is standardized training, and then get into another field where she has a standardized training.
It was in 2017 and was wanting to teach because she really had kind of gotten a little taste of teaching in her work at Parkview and asked for a job. And Jamie had been working with her and said, yeah, she'd be great. And the first time I met her, I hardly knew her, and it's Brandi. She grabs a hold of you and hugs you.
Bonnie took a chance on me, hired me, and now I'm the one in the lab teaching everybody.
She's a technician for the simulation department. She assists me in the housey, and she even has worked to do a online course in medical ethics that's used for several programs within health professions.
I love the students. I love watching them grow from, I call them my little fledglings. Like they just grow up and they're these big flowers at the end. Even the guys, they're so proud and so happy. We have a phlebotomist, and he literally wants to be a nurse. He's still in high school. And that's amazing to have that drive at high school. I mean, I don't know very many guys that are like that. He already works at Parkview. So just feed him the information that he needs to be successful. And that's what I like to do. That's my biggest thing, is just spreading kindness and education. Because if you're educated, you could do anything.
We made a video on the anatomage table with one of the cadavers. Brandi did the drawing, so she drew a little like mini skirt and boots and a Christmas hat and a little midriff top. Brandi did the actual singing, so she was singing Rocking Around the Christmas Tree, and I was operating the table at the same time. We had so much fun doing it. We were just laughing the whole time. We sent it to the anatomage company, and they loved it, and they actually sent it out to a lot of different people.
And the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave? There's your answer.